It's a new week. We got some parts. So let me tell you what I ended up doing. New driveline was $1,000, give or take. I searched around a few junkyards and I found 2 drivelines in the state, happened to be at the same junkyard, that were in good shape. And the U-joints are a little worn, but not terrible, honestly. Carrier bearings nice and tight, and no dents, no dings. This one was $175 plus tax and everything. I want to say it ended up being $192 by the time I was done with everything. And this was from Precision Auto Parts. They're in, I think it's still considered Tempe. I don't know. I'll put it up at the bottom of the screen. The other thing, while I was looking, I talked to a buddy of mine. Thank you, Jason, for recommending to possibly have it repaired. So I searched around for some drive shaft repair places, driveline repair places, and I found Arizona Drive Shaft and Differential. And I talked to Dale, and super cool people over there. I asked them for a ballpark. I told them, hey, this is kind of the options that I'm weighing out. If you can just give me a ballpark over the phone, obviously I'm not going to hold you to that exact number, but kind of here's what's going on. And they said, well, if we can just replace the tube, right, just the tube, and then rebalance it, it'll be probably like $350, but bring it in and we'll give you a free quote to replace it. Cool. Pulled driveline out. I didn't film any of that. It was late and I was in a hurry. So pulled the driveline out, ran it over there after work, and dropped it off. And this one is the one that was in my truck. So now we can see a little bit better. You can see I came across it. It hit here and spun all the way around and just shredded it. And you can see it's not the first time I've hit it, but it's the first time it dented it. So one of the things that we talked about was basically rebuilding the entire driveline, okay? And when I say rebuilding the entire driveline is they were going to put the new tube in, new U-joint, new carrier bearing, new U-joint, and any of the seals that needed to be done. That was going to be about $775. They said that would be the recommended service. And I said, okay, that's a little steep. At that rate, I'll probably just go with the used one until I can afford that. And he said, well, we can do the minimum, which would be replacing the one U-joint and the tube, and then this end. So this end, they could have ground off the welds here and replaced this end and put it in the new tube. But you got to think of the cost of labor for them to, I don't know if they do it on a lathe or if they use a grinder. It kind of looks like they use a lathe. So if they do it that way, right, you're talking about a bunch of extra labor, and then they have to weld the new one in versus just getting that new part. There wasn't a terrible cost difference in doing that, and then the one new U-joint. So it ended up being about $450. So $450 for this one to be repaired, and we'll call it $200 for this one out of the junkyard. So $650 between the two of them, about $350 cheaper than the new one from Toyota. Now, neither one of these are in new condition. This one's pretty close. I mean, give or take, other than the carrier bearing, whatever, but they're on great shape. But I have a spare. So now if this ever happens again, or if a friend or something, whatever, I have a spare. And being that there was only 2 in the state, even though I didn't really have the money to do it, I did it, right? So anyways, I wanted to keep this, call it a trophy, call it wall art, whatever you want to call it, but keep that one. So let's get this one in. I'll show you filming it, putting it in, even though I didn't film taking it out. And basically, anytime you're messing with the driveline on a vehicle, the very first thing you want to do is chalk the wheels. So let me get you spun around here. And you can see I put a wheel chock in, even though all 4 wheels are on the ground, right? I put a wheel chock in. And if you don't know, and I feel like it should be common knowledge, but I've seen it happen a lot. Once you pull the bolts out of your driveline, the transmission, which is your put it in park, right, and it's holding everything, is no longer holding the vehicle. So if your parking brake isn't set, or it doesn't hold very good, or whatever, your vehicle can just roll away. So you want to chock the wheels. It's a good idea to make sure your parking brake's on also. Now, putting it back together, I will probably have to jack up the rear end just to align the bolts. But let's get under there and get everything set up and see, and I'll show you how easy it is to actually throw these back in. All right, so on the transfer case side, we have 4 bolt flange here, and then the carrier bearing has 2 bolts here. I don't know if you can see my hands. So there's a bolt here and a bolt here. And then at the back, at the rear differential, we have 4 bolts here. And these ones have bolts and nuts. So the front one has just nuts and washers. Carrier bearing has 2 bolts. So what we're going to do first is we're going to bolt in this one and get that secured and snug, right? We're not going to tighten it down. We're just going to snug everything down. Once this one's in, then we'll move to the rear. And then once the rear is in, then we'll put the carrier bearing in and let everything sit. And the reason that we're going to do that is the slip yoke and the alignment. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So let me get you set up where you can kind of see what's going on. Hopefully the lighting is okay. Like I said, this one's pretty simple. Hopefully my head's not in your way. Now, the reason that we do the one at the transfer case first is for this reason and this bolt up here. Without having to jack everything up, move everything, put it in neutral, you want to be able to get to this bolt up here and make sure that that's good. So, being that it's up there now, we can actually just reach right over the top and snug it down. And again, we're only snugging it down. You don't want to tighten anything yet. You want to make sure that everything gets nice and aligned. There are little flanges on the end of these. So you want to give that the opportunity to seat properly. And just like anything else, you're going to torque down and go in a crisscross pattern until there's no excess pressure on one side versus the other. There is a torque spec for this. I'll look it up and let you know when we're doing a final torque on everything. Alright, so that one's snug. And this is the best setup that I found. So I have my swivel head 3/8 drive ratchet. I have an extension that is a wobbly extension. So it's got the little end on it there that allows you to, you can either push it all the way in and it stays solid, or you can pop it out just a little bit and it'll wobble. And then this is one of the short ratcheting sockets. So it's made to go in one of these to get in really tight spaces. So you can see that that is much, much lower profile. You know, it's the same overall as just the ratchet. I don't know if you can see that, but so these are handy for tight spaces, but that head won't get in here. So having that shorter socket makes it nice. These are a 14 millimeter front and back, as well as the carrier bearings. So let me get you moved around where you can see the back, and we'll get that one set up. All right, I don't know how much of this you're going to be able to see without my hands getting in the way, but let's get our tag off of here. Make sure there's no debris on the end. If you can see, there's that flange on the end. That's what you struggle to get in if it's not set just right. So, all right. And on this one, the bolts go through from the front. and the nuts go on the back. So I would suggest putting a bolt in. And it looks like we're gonna have to jack the truck up. All right, so see how that's not lined up there? That's what we need to jack the truck up and move that over a little bit. So I'm gonna move these where they're accessible to me. And I already know the wheel's chalked, so I'm gonna throw a jack under here real quick. All right, now, with the truck jacked up, make sure you guys still have a good view. With the truck jacked up and parking brake off now, you should be able to move your rear wheels and get that aligned. So, gotta get it close in there. And then, again, crisscross pattern. Start putting everything in. These first couple bolts will probably be a little difficult because you're trying to hold the drive line and line it up and everything. Just take your time, be careful. Now while you're putting these nuts on, these long fine threads, the other thing that you can do while you're under your vehicle is just take a look around. Look for, you know, axle seals going bad. I can see that my rear diff is leaking just a little bit, which is super common on these 3rd gen Tacomas after you do gears and stuff. I'm not very concerned about it. I'll probably take care of it when I change the diff fluid here. I think I got another 5,000 miles or so, but I'll probably do it anyways. So, all right, I'm gonna snug these down real quick. Now that we got these snugged down, we're gonna move to the carrier bearing. All right, it's not a bad angle. Poor light. We can put some light there. This right here is your slip yoke. I think that's what it's called anyways. So as you're pushing up, it's gonna collapse that. And that's why you don't wanna do the carrier bearing first, because when these are fresh and greased like it is right now, if you're trying to push and pull and extend that, it's a pain trying to get that other end in. But if you do it like this, then you can just push it right up in there, get everything lined up. It should be nice and aligned. So everything's snugged up. I'll torque it down, but let's get out from underneath it here. So there you go. Simple driveline. So camera's about to die. I'm going to torque all this down, but it's really that easy. You don't have to have a bunch of knowledge to do this stuff. You have to have a willingness to learn and the ability to look stuff up. So that's one of the reasons that I started this channel. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to get back to, is I want to make sure that people that don't have the most knowledge, right? Because what do we go to YouTube for? We go to YouTube for tutorials, reviews, and then some of the channels that have just, you know, pure entertainment factor. But I like the tutorials. I like somebody being able to be like, can I do this on my own? Yes, you can, with basically no tools. So the ratchet that I was using is from AutoZone. It's like $30. The extension came in a set from Harbor Freight. I think it was like $15. The socket came as part of a set that goes from 8mm to 24mm with no skips, and I think that was $30. So I'm gonna say $100 for tools, right? And you're still way under what it would cost you just for the new part. So don't think that you have to throw new parts at stuff all the time, especially if it's a trail rig, especially if it's something that has the potential to break again. Check into the used market, see if it can be rebuilt, ask a friend, you know, if they have experience with it, whatever. Shoot, drop it in the comments. If I have suggestions or anything that I can help with, I 100% will. So I'm trying to get more content out. I got a lot more lighting in here now so we can shoot videos at night. And yeah, so as always, thank you for watching. Please share with your friends, give a like, drop a comment, and catch you on the next one.